of Faith coming to you from BBC Northgate. We read scripture, meditate together and pray. I'm reading from Proverbs chapter 5. Now, Proverbs chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7 is very interesting topics are discussed there. He talks about sexuality issues. He talks about, straying from your marriage relationship. And not just for marriage people, is also for us to understand what is the thinking of Scripture. I pick it up at Proverbs 5, verse 7. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Do not turn aside from what I say. Keep to a path far from a wayward woman. Do not go near the door of her house, lest you lose your honor to others and your dignity to one who is cruel. Lest strangers feast on your wealth and your toil enrich the house of another. At the end of your life, you will groan when your flesh and body are spent. You will say, how I hated discipline, how my heart spurned correction. I would not obey my teachers or turn my ear to my instructors. And I was soon in serious trouble in the assembly of God's people. Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the streets, your streams of water in the public square? Let them be yours alone, never to be shared with strangers. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. A loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breasts satisfy you always. May you ever be intoxicated by her love. Why, my son, be intoxicated with another man's wife? Why embrace the bosom of a wayward woman? For your ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all your path. The evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them. The cords of their sins hold them fast. For lack of discipline, they will die, led astray by their own great folly. The Bible is very extravagant about sexuality. Timothy was told to flee the evil desires of youth. And two problems are discussed here. The issue of adultery, which is married sexual relationship outside marriage, and there's also the issue of fornication, which is sexual relationship before marriage. Both of them, the position of Scripture is don't go there, because God has already created the issue of sexuality, and he's created it for three reasons, according to Genesis chapter 2. Number one, companionship. Number two, procreation. Number three, expression of love one for another, which should be reserved for a spouse. Now here, listen to what he is saying, that if you don't heed these words, at the end of your life, you will groan, because your flesh and your body are spent. Your monies are wasting away. He says, lest you lose your honor to others. Strangers will feast on your wealth, and your toil will enrich the house of another. He says you'll soon be in very serious trouble. And at the end here, he says, if you don't have this discipline, it could lead you to death. In other passages of this scripture, Proverbs 5, 6, and 7, he says, there's no way you can hold coals with your hands and you fail to burn. And then he also says, it's not possible that you can go out with your neighbor's wife and then you are safe. He says it's going to cost you your life. And so there's a recommendation in Scripture. If you are not able to keep your discipline, get married. When you are married, now you have rights. But then again, you have to check yourself. Remember the story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife. Joseph told Potiphar's wife, everything you're saying can be done, and it's good. But what about the God who is watching over me? The Bible here says that all your ways are in full view of the Lord. He is seeing you, and he takes judgment because he's given very clear instructions. There are things that God has given us for our life, and they are like tests. He wants to see, are you faithful in what you are fully in control of, or are you unfaithful? In other passages of Scripture, he says, even the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. You cannot say, oh, emotions overrode me. No. This is something in your control. So he says, in a summary, sexual relationships are for married couples. Fornication or adultery is not recommended because it's going to be very expensive for you and could lead you to death. I pray that you read more of this scripture and that you'll not only be hearers, but also that you'll heed the advice given here. Thank you for tuning in, and God bless you as you continue and consider this passage of scripture. Asante.